Get rid of your unreliable German cars before they bankrupt you. Now, I'm an engineer, guys, and I've got an MBA. And long before I went to business school, I realized a simple truth about life. I learned this through investing in stocks. I've invested in stocks for, I believe, a decade now. Pretty early on, I understood the sunken cost fallacy. Now, the sunken cost fallacy is where you put money into a position. Because you've put that money in, you become emotionally invested, and you stick with that position longer than you should. I've done my fair share of this. I would buy a position or a stock that's gone from $100 to $50, right? 50%. And I would think to myself, geez, this thing's a 50% discount. And I would get that stock at $50. And from there on, guys, it would go right down to $25, right? Another 50%, which is dreadful, quite disconcerting. And then I would think to myself, geez, okay, I've lost 50% from here. Someone before me lost 50%. Surely this is it. And I would add more money. It would just keep going down. Business school will teach you about the sunken cost fallacy, but it doesn't teach you about these things recurring in life and recurring in so many areas. Business school won't teach you that for the majority of the times that I invested in stocks, when I bought items and I stuck with them and doubled down on them, they kept losing me money, guys. Right? That's just what I found through my investing. And when I found positions that were not on discount or on a very minor discount, they would go up, right? They would go up 100%. And I would buy these positions at only 10% discount or maybe 15% discount. And they would be some of my most performing positions. And the famous investor Peter Lynch said, do not cut your flowers to water the weeds. And if you're a gardener listening to this, you would think, obviously, that's common sense. But in other areas of life, this is exactly what people do. If they've got stocks and they've got one position that's bad, a bad stock, and a position that's good, what'll they do? They'll cut the flower. They'll say, you know what, my position that's done really well for me, let me get rid of that and put more money into my position that's gone down. Because that's gone down so much, I'll put all my money there and then eventually it'll grow as well. So they're cutting the flower and watering the weed. And that's how people are with their cars as well. And the title of this video, I believe it's, around German cars, but this applies to all cars, Japanese cars as well. A lot of people, in fact, they buy Toyotas and Lexus, and especially old Toyotas and Lexuses, because they've heard about reliability, and they run into issues because age impacts all cars, not equally, but you can have some lemons. And often I have people reach out and they say, look, my Lexus is quite problematic, and I don't doubt them. Obviously, those cases are much rarer than German counterparts, which is why I've focused this video towards German cars. But a lot of people hold their German cars much longer than they should. In fact, I had a BMW, and when I bought it, probably within a month and a half, I had to do pretty heavy maintenance. My BMW was 8 years old, pretty much near the 6-year mark for a German car. You're going to have to do a lot of maintenance. Everything comes through. And I had to do my brakes, belts, a few other things. And with German cars, you might know, they have to do pads and rotors. With Japanese cars, I had an MX-5. In fact, all my Japanese cars, performance or not, it's just been brake pads. But with German cars, they eat their rotors as well, the brake discs, which are expensive. So I had to do my brakes, which were quite expensive, a few other items. And I thought, you know what, this was the first phase of my sunken cost. And I thought to myself, geez, okay, I've done this. I've got to hold this car for a bit longer to get my ROI, right? Return on investment. And many people don't think in those practical terms, but deep down, that's how they're making their decisions as well. So I kept that car, and then I ran into some repairs. You fix that repair, you rectify it, and then you think, look, I've done the maintenance and I've done this repair as well. Now I'm really incentivized to keep this car. And then I ran into another repair that I thought, geez, okay, I'll fix this repair, but now I really need to keep this car, and I think it's going to be tip-top from here. And then I ran into another repair, and then obviously after that I was like, I'm done with this car. That was me sort of getting into the sunken cost fallacy all over again, a lesson that I thought I understood about life in general. And a lot of people might say, well, it's cheaper for me to just keep fixing the car. Guys, that's not the reality. For a lot of people who own these German cars long enough, especially, and if you're wrenching and if you're someone who knows your way around these cars, or you're in Europe, this video doesn't apply to you, right? A lot of people get offended by these videos. They're made for the general people who are maybe in foreign markets. If you're in Australia, Canada, USA, these German cars are foreign for us. You would know that, and you would know that the shop rates are very expensive and parts are expensive. What will happen over time is you will put a lot more money into this than you realize. The right thing would be to cut your losses and move on. And I want to relate it to a business sense, because I said I've got an MBA, and I do want to draw from different examples. Consider you're a chef. You run a famous restaurant and you have seafood. At the end of the day, you realize you had ordered too much fish. It's going to go stale for tomorrow. What do? Do you try to serve the people tomorrow that stale fish, leftover fish? Or do you get new fish? right? You would be correct to get new fish, new fresh fish, because that is the right thing to do for people, obviously, first and foremost. But that's also good business, guys. If you start serving people that stale fish, they're never going to return, and in the long term, you're going to be in a negative position. A smart chef understands that that is the state of how things are. He ordered too much fish. That's his sunken cost. He should not try to rectify it by then serving stale fish to the patrons. That money has been spent. The future decisions should not be dictated by the money spent. And funny enough, Machiavelli's The Prince, which is a historical and political work, many believe it's satire, and it doesn't reveal Machiavelli's true intentions or beliefs. But in that book, with regards to medical intervention, he said that when you have an ailment, the easiest thing to do in early stages, is to cure it when you catch it really early. But ironically, the toughest thing in those early stages is diagnosis, right? It's really tough to diagnose those things really early on. But if you are able to successfully diagnose, then treatment is excellent. It's super effective. And similarly, in very late stages, the easiest thing to do is diagnosis. It's very easy to diagnose something like that when you've let it run for a long time. And the toughest thing is to treat it. I hope that adds a bit of clarity for some of you who might need this video. I hope that helps. I'll catch you next time.